Good morning, north of 44 degrees. We are back at it. We are going to go ahead and finish up the north wall, including all the sheetrock up top and everything else. So let's duck inside and take a look at what we're going to be doing this weekend, and then we're going to get to it.
So my computer ate the second half of this intro, but rather than going and putting a dirty shirt on and trying to recreate, we'll just reshoot. Let's get inside and see what we got. So you'll notice that this top row is now all done. You see this white line, that's J channel, and that's brackets. So let's look at the materials that we've got going on here. The J channel is a 1/2 inch by, I think it's inch, aluminum channel. You can find this at the Big Orange in the siding department. That is glued to the top of the plywood with this Gorilla Heavy Duty, not sponsored, and then screwed with these little panhead screws. See if we can see that real quick. Yeah, you can see it gives a good flat, lots of clamping pressure in a flat area. You have to make sure that they're perfectly centered and jam them right down there. These are by Tex, again, not sponsored. They're only 3/4 of an inch, and I do pre-drill them because they're going into the edge grain of that plywood. The rock is then Beta adhesive is dropped in this channel, and then the rock goes in on that. I don't need a whole bunch of holding power. Just wanted kind of a clean edge. Now up top, I used this same tie plate from the last video, cut them up into just little 2-inch sections, and I have a couple of those on the top rail, and I screw a couple, put a screw in at the top just to kind of hold everything in place. So that's the materials we've used. I think this stuff is like $6 for a 12-foot stick. The screws are probably the most expensive part of it on a piece-by-piece basis. And the adhesive is, I don't know, 10 or 11 bucks. So there's what we have.
Step one. Let's measure for this J channel. I'm gonna need 20, dead nuts at 22 inches. So this weekend, we're happening through Scottville, Michigan. Nice little farm town just outside of Ludington. Probably most known for its where you turn to go north to Traverse City. But we noticed a newish coffee shop there on the corner. It's in the old bank building. It's called State and Main. We've seen it a little bit, but have never really gone in. So we decided to stop in and get a cup of coffee on Sunday. They've really done the place up nice. The interior is completely redone. They had a big case of fresh pastries. I don't know if they make them there or they bring them in, but they also had a bagel guy, pop-up bagel guy was on site on Sunday, and he had fresh bagels. But I just went with a pretty simple red eye, which is coffee and espresso, because I like coffee in my coffee. And my wife had one of the flavored drinks, and both were pretty phenomenal. So if you ever find yourself in and around the Ludington area, I would say you should stop by State and Main and get yourself a cup of coffee. Forgot to do. I want to put a bead of adhesive down. Said, stop in and get yourself a cup of coffee at State and Main. They don't know me, I promise. I've been in there once, and I'm pretty forgettable, happily. But it's like I said, if you're into coffee, it's a really good cup of coffee. So. I think it always pays to shop local. Next, we're going to put this bracket up top. You know, I don't know. I'm going to put it up there anyway. I may not put a screw through it because I just want to keep the sheetrock from pushing back into the insulation. So it's just going to be a support. It's not going to do much. I think it's far more important on the big sheets. I would say be careful when working with this cut metal like this because the edges are really sharp and they'll light you up. Okay. So we've got the top bracket in, we've got the J channel in. Let me go cut a piece of sheetrock. Go 22. 22 by 41 and 5/8. Like the fancy people say, a few moments later. We're going to put a bead of adhesive in the channel. And if you're wondering, did I test fit this before I put this thing up here? Absolutely. I wanted to know. Fortunately, it did work, but. And you notice I do notch right here just to give myself a little extra clearance. So on the sides, I'm using just a 1 1/4 inch utility screw, nothing fancy. Jury's still out on whether or not I'm going to mud and tape these. Don't know yet. So we are countersinking these a little bit just in case I lose my mind and decide to mud and tape. So that's that process. Now, when I insulate this wall over here, the insulation is going to come out to about 6 inches, about right here. But because of these poles, or these posts are faced this way, and the posts on this wall are facing this way, there's a height difference, which is why I'm having to skin this wall before I can do anything with this wall. So that's why we're doing this. And like I said, I'm still debating on whether or not I'm going to do half of this wall and then the ceiling while I have this side of the shop cleared out. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll jump over and do the other half because I have to move all of the shop equipment from the south side to the north side. So, but that wraps up this one. I think we're going to, let me see what's going on in the house, but I may move that Starlink antenna from the bottom edge of the roof up to the ridge. What happens is I get too much snow built up on top, and when it slides off, it rips the antenna off the roof, and I lose Elon on the roof. So let's wrap this one up and see what happens next. I got shanghaied into pulling weeds, so I'm gonna go get cleaned up and we're gonna call it.
Thanks for watching. See you next week.